Hi guys. Something that I'm doing right now. I thought I'd take video of it just because I did not get video of it the first time I went into this carb to change jetting. And on this particular carb, for those who aren't familiar, it's a little bit different than it is with some of the standard aftermarket carbs. It's a little tougher on this guy than say it is a on like an Edelbrock or something. Reason being, this thing is sandwiched together in 3 pieces, and basically what happens to change the jets, you're gonna have to disassemble all 3 pieces, remove the top, flip it, and you'll be able to access your jets that way. Now, in order to do that, trying to remember all what needs to happen. Of course, these linkages need to come off. Anything that's going to prevent this from coming apart. I'm going to take off the choke linkage just because I was trying to recall why the heck I did that the first time. I did that the first time because it's right in the way of removing your metering rods, and I want to remove the metering rods first before I pull this thing apart and flip it upside down. I don't know. I've heard of guys doing it without doing that step, but I zoomed in a little bit for 2 reasons. One, of course, it's easier to see, but the second is my area is a mess, and this might just be a little bit less distracting if I just remove some of that from your background. Now, Holly has got these tiny little C-clips, these little retainer clips on here, which they function very well. They stay in place as they're supposed to, and as you can see, at times they are a total bitch. I'm using kind of the smallest oh, I don't want to bend it. Come on. What I like to do is just grab it and kind of, there we go. Did you come free? Whew. It's fun. Like I said, they actually function perfectly, but I don't know if you can see that. It's just so dang tiny that clearance and whatnot can sometimes become an issue. Now that that's off of there, I'll go ahead and remove these metering rods. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and tighten these back in place so they're not flopping around on me. Not even sure if it's a big deal if they do flop around, but I'd rather not bend pieces by having them flop around on me. Okay, now that those are out of the way, I wanted to show you, there we go, wanted to show you what's going to be happening. You can see there are 2 screws on the top, one here, and one here. Both of those are going to come out. And, oh, you see that? I forgot. This guy needs to come off as well. I get that off. Now to remove this, there is a clip here, but to tell you the truth, I think even when you remove that clip, I don't think you really have clearance to get it free of this arm that it has there. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this nut off. This is an 8mm nut, and when you take this off, what happens is this arm that goes onto the shaft, it's kind of a keyed arm so that it only goes on one way, and that allows you to get the correct orientation for that guy when you go to place him back on. Now, one thing I do want to say, because I kind of skipped over it, and it's an important point, is that this guy's this carburetor, I did go ahead and I was hoping I could just get it by my fingers, but it's so far down there. I think I need the screwdriver. All of these screws that I'm taking out, they're all identical length and thread. So I'm not found that out the first time, because the first time I was keeping them all neatly sorted, the top bolts, the bottom bolts, everything, but they're all identical. So not worrying about it too much this time. I may still separate them in the ditch, so I have some frame of reference. Now, all right. So now that I'm at this point, this guy needs to be flipped. Now, like I said, those screws are out. So when I flip this, oh my goodness, I forgot something else as well. This won't be able to come apart unless I take off the accelerator pump linkage as well. So, same thing. It's another one of those tiny little C-clips. And now I'm going to flip this. Now, mind you, I already emptied majority of all the fuel out of this guy. And I did that just by, honestly, I took a container, a clean container, turned it over and just waited for it to stop pouring out gas. It just dumped basically through the throat and through the fuel vents on the top. Now on the bottom, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 that need to come out. Sorry, I just taking a look at that for a second there. I was doubting myself. I was like, did I really need to disconnect that linkage? But yes, you do. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that need to come out. And anytime I don't know how necessary this is. I tend to think it's a good idea when you're loosening things. One is do them by hand. There's no power tools involved in this. I don't want to. This is just aluminum. I don't want to strip any threads or anything. But I want to feel what's going on with each of these that I'm loosening. So, are there any that stick? Are there any abnormalities that would give me pause, you know? So, oops. That tends to be my way of thinking, is careful's always good. Careful makes sure you don't screw up your basically brand new carburetor. Oops. Oh, I didn't loosen this guy at all. Thought I did. Alright, same thing. Now I'm going to pick the whole thing up all together if I can, because I don't want the alignment of these pieces to be affected. And now, this top guy, hopefully, won't need any coaxing. There we go. So, that reason that you see me doing that little game where I go and just give it a little wrap with a screwdriver around the edges is sometimes, and that gasket looks good, it's lined up everywhere, it hasn't torn or anything, that's all good news. Anyway, the reason I do that is because sometimes it'll just kind of vacuum itself together onto these gaskets, and that just helps kind of break up that vacuum so that nothing's fighting you and you just kind of, which is good. That's exactly what I want, because that is all there is to it. Now let me take a look here, figure out what the hell I did. Oh crap, everything's gonna stick to my magnetic guy. I'm sorry, I'm a little fascinated still. I'm new to these carburetors, so I don't know. I like looking at things, checking out the setup. Oh, don't tell me this guy's too small. There we go. Yep, these are 82s that were in there, and I believe these are 80s that it comes with stock. Yes, they are. Sorry, I'm getting old. I have to play the trombone a little bit to read these small numbers. Either that, or I could use my readers. But these numbers, these are stamped a little bigger and a little more clearly than the Edelbrock jets. Edelbrock jets have really got small numbers on them. I need my reading glasses for those. These, even in this light, which is not, it's not bad, but it ain't perfect. I'm still able to read these. Now, I don't know, as long as I got this, looking at the underside of this thing, I want to point something out to you, because this is one of the things that this was one of the complaints that I heard about this carburetor. I mean, like I said, this carburetor's like new to me. I really haven't had it very long. Really haven't had it very long at all. When you screw these in, I'm not forcing anything. I am just letting it find the threads, guide it down, and I am really not putting any force on it until I get in there just to snug it. That's all I'm trying to do. Okay. But what I was mentioning earlier, one of the complaints I had heard about this is that there's a guy who works on carburetors quite a bit, and he was saying this guy goes sometimes. This little, I don't even know what it is. I guess it's a nylon hose. I mean, I'm sure it's a grade that is able to stand up to modern fuels and whatnot, but to my understanding, he said eventually this will go, and they sell a replacement because it's Holly over the years has become aware of how common a problem that is, and says they sell a replacement for that. But to tell you the truth, that being said, if that's the case, I don't want to touch it. I'm just going to leave it as is and wait till I have a problem. You know, the new part. Okay, sorry, just double checking. I guess I'm used to Edelbrock carbs where you have to keep an eye on that accelerator pump plunger. Am I doing this correctly? Yes, okay. It's just my last chance to take a look and make sure there's no mess, there's no anything that's going to stop me from putting this back together correctly. Trying not to affect those gaskets and just trying to let that fall into place. And then, as I said, I separated these on the dish so I can tell which ones go in the top. Now these go in the top, so I'm going to go ahead and just get them in. Sorry about that. Yeah, get these guys back in here. Now I'm not even going to tighten that one down until I get this one in place, because I don't want to warp anything. I don't want to create any weirdness. I'm just going to let them find their home. And as I've said before, you know, this is just aluminum. I'm not interested in stripping anything. So yes, I'm snugging these down so that that lock washer is able to do its thing and hold them in place. But I'm not looking to crush it, you know. Okay. Now I'm grabbing the whole thing, all three pieces, because I want to keep everything aligned. I don't know how necessary this is, because like I said, I'm new to this carburetor, altogether new. So I'm flipping it Setting it down, trying not to disturb anything. So the last thing I need is to have another piece of user error that could have been avoided. Sorry if I'm doing a little bit of a bad job of filming, but trying to move kind of quickly here. Reason being is that anyway, reason being is I just don't want to take all day with this. It's, as you can see, it's not really a very complicated process at all. It's just a matter of getting it done, taking your time, not skipping steps, not messing anything up. Now, just like on the top, I'm not even snugging these all the way down until I start getting them all in their proper place and seated. Once they are, I'll go around and torque them in kind of an alternating sequence, the way I would do if I was doing a wheel or something. Reason for that is just that this is just aluminum. I know I keep saying that, but I mean, honestly, things that are just aluminum like this, you know, treat them with a little bit of respect, because if they warp or break or crack or any of that, they're for a world of hurt. Alright, so there's got to be something I can stick under there just to kind of prop that up. There we go. And again, as I was saying, be a bit of a gentleman here, okay, with these things, because there will be a point at which it stops. Allow yourself to stop before you create a problem. As long as I have this thing upside down, I wanted to take a look at where my slots were at, and there is almost nothing. My transfer slot, that is. See how much of that is exposed, and tell you the truth, I mean, they are not squared or anything. There is, I would say, probably maybe half the thickness of this tongue depressor is all that's showing. And that just gives me some idea for my own reference, because quite frankly, I don't know if I'll stay with that adjustment or if I'll change things up. I just wanted to see what kind of room I have. Whoa, come on, don't stay. I wanted to see what kind of room I have to work with. Now that I have the whole thing back together, well, first things first, I'll shut this. And it's important to remember the order of things that you did, so that you remember before you hook these linkages back up, you've got to drop in your metering rods. And if I recall, yeah. Hey, don't go in sideways. There you go. And that really is, that's part of the reason I do it in that manner. It's nothing should be interfering with this. It should just drop right in and be right there. So that's what I wanted. What's that? Where's that sticking? Oh, there you go. There, you see, nothing interfering with that at all. So now on this, I did find this the first time. I had to come farther out to allow me to, farther out on these screws to allow me to line that up again properly. Same thing here. It really, the purpose of these screws is really just to keep this door in place, so you don't have to go crazy with it. Just torque it down enough so that it makes sense. Now, this part, this is what bugs me about these C-clips. It's not so much the taking them off, but putting them back on. Can be, you know, it's not so hard or anything. It's just that well, you can see what I'm dealing with here. It's well, I'll tell you what. This is the C-clip for the other one. That's how come I'm having trouble getting it to stay on there. It's an even smaller C-clip that goes on this guy. Yep. I usually put it back on there and then play with it just a bit, just to make sure that just to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. Now this guy is the one that goes on here. As you can see, it's not the biggest deal in the world. These C-clips, they work great. They don't slip, they don't go anywhere. It's just that this in-between thing, getting them on there. Luckily this, over time, from having it in all my magnetic little parts holders, they've kind of magnetized themselves, but if it wasn't for that, I'd be looking for this thing on the floor right now, you know? Like I said, I always play with them a little bit just to make sure they're on there and they're not going to go anywhere, because I mean, okay, that's fine. Now this part, I'm going to have you watch. Move the camera. The reason I'm moving the camera is that this arm it's kind of keyed, so it only goes on in the correct alignment. Now, you see how this goes in and out? Watch this. So you've got to push on this side a little bit so that that shaft that this mounts onto sticks out far enough to align this properly, because as I said, it only goes on one way. Once it's on there, then you're good. There's actually there's a bit of a lock washer that goes underneath this nut, so make sure you don't lose that. That's going to go on first. And then this nut. And where did my wrench go? Little 8mm, yeah. Now, because I don't want to bend this linkage arm in any way, what I'm doing is just holding this at a hard open stop so that I can tighten this without stressing that arm. Oops, I have to use the open end.
This is like 3 months ago.
Okay. That'll be more than enough to hold that in place. That is locked on there now with that lock nut. And we are good. Now I'm going to go ahead and actually put this on the car before I go ahead and fill it up. I'm gonna fill up the bowls through these bowl vents that are there.